Hey everyone, Adrian here. I am going to film my reactions to all of our previous Navajo tea time videos. Kelsey and I are celebrating our 1-year anniversary since the day we launched Navajo Tea Time, and it's been quite a journey. We've been successful in putting out a video close to every month, and so to kind of give you, I don't know, I guess a little bit of nostalgia is in order. So I'm gonna watch a couple videos and react to a few of them. So yeah, so here we go. Navajo Tea Time. This is the MMIW episode. Kelsey. So this is the first video that we ever filmed together, and it was filmed in Cameron, Arizona. And I remember at the time I was really insecure about being filmed, and Kelsey asked me to, you know, take on this project just for fun, you know, so she could practice her editing skills and I could get more familiar with camera work, I guess, just like being in front of the camera and speaking freely. And so
Hi, my name is Kelsey Lee.
This was an issue that we wanted to talk about because at the time I was currently working on there's this big project that myself and my husband and our colleagues were very passionate about, the Missing and Murdered Diné Relatives Initiative, and this video fell in line with that because at the time a lot of protests were going on in the United States, and we wanted to draw attention to what was going on here on the Navajo Nation. The issue being that a lot of people were experiencing having their relatives go missing or turn up murdered, and a lot of data hadn't been collected. And so we were currently working with the Navajo Nation to push this initiative forward so that we could give those people a voice and so that we could come up with solutions for that problem. So I wanted to talk about that, and that's what this episode was not really about, but what we covered, and in addition to like introducing ourselves. And I guess one thing that I'm reminded of is that after this video went live, we started to get a lot of messages on our Facebook page, and then personally too, personal messages from people who were saying that, you know, they shared a similar story. They shared a similar story to what I shared in this video, and that was moving. You know, that made me feel like what we were doing was a little bit bigger than just griping about things. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a lot of tea videos, you know, do. They gossip and they gripe about things that bother them. They spill tea as far as, like, you know, spilling controversy or scandal about other people. And I feel like what we did differently was we kind of like just turned that lens on ourselves and we shared our stories and our perspectives. So yeah, that was kind of like the thing. So I don't know, I felt like that bit of honesty really connected us with our viewers. Yeah, so that's like, I guess, what I wanted to say about the first video. Okay, so our second video was the home site lease video, and this one was really fun because Kelsey came to Tuba City and we filmed at our house there in Tuba. And I remember I didn't have time to bake, so I went to Bash's and I got a whole bunch of donuts and goodies, and I wanted it to look really good because during our first video all the cupcakes started to melt because it was so hot. So that was funny. But the update there is my home site lease was not approved. I'm still waiting and it's really sad, but I feel like, you know, the camaraderie that we share with our viewers who are experiencing the same thing, going through the same struggle, trying to get a home, built is yeah, it's stressful, it sucks, and you know, we're still praying that something will open up. So yeah, more to come on that. Let me see, is there anything in particular here that I want to react to? Conversation about hot steamy tea. It makes me so mad, you know. It's really unfair. So okay, one thing I remember that I had issue with this video was when Kelsey was talking about grazing permit holders, and I was like, yo, you should be careful about talking trash about or no, let me try that again. Okay, so I remember one thing that came up during this conversation was about grazing permit holders, and I know there was like some tea spilt regarding that topic, and I was kind of like telling Kelsey that we need to be careful that we don't piss off the wrong people, because the truth is that grazing permit holders do hold a lot of power on the nation. So yeah, but times are changing, you know, and hopefully because of the way the world is changing, you know, maybe we'll really start, you know, unlocking those barriers so that more people can have housing and we can all live, you know, healthy lives on the Navajo Nation, where we can have our own home, we can build our own homestead. And that's what I'm hoping, really. Like, I know times are changing in a big way, and the way we live is affecting our health. So yeah, something to think about. Okay, so the back to school video I wasn't a part of. Kelsey filmed on her own, and I remember later telling Kelsey that I hadn't actually watched the video, and she was like, what the heck? So I don't know if she watches the videos that I do solo, but I'm sure she does, because you know, they are pretty intriguing. Just kidding. No, yeah, the back to school video, we're talking about education and, you know, getting our kids back to school, and dang, like, what are we gonna talk about this year, you know? Like, our kids are probably not gonna go back to school because it's dangerous. And I know in the state of Arizona, schools are opening back up, or they're talking about opening schools back up. And I know in the Navajo Nation, people are like, you know, trying to weigh those options. Like, is that smart? To be totally honest, I don't think it's safe. I don't think my kids are going to be going back to school. I'm looking into stay-at-home options for them, like homeschooling. So, yeah, I mean, that's a touchy subject too. But I'd rather my kids be safe at home than in danger, you know, and in the care of a system that isn't really putting their safety first. So, yeah, there's a T. Okay, so this video was probably the funnest video because my husband and I contributed to this video. Together, his music plays throughout, and it was our first time vlogging. I had never vlogged in my life, and so it was fun because, like, we went on this bike ride and we ghetto rigged my phone to the front because I don't have a GoPro, and it kept falling off, and it was really funny. But I remember making this episode. It was really fun, and we did a solar installation here at home, and we talked about, we did a Q&A. I had asked people on Instagram and Facebook to submit questions, and so I answered those questions, and it was really fun. Like, I love working with my husband side by side. I feel like we have this really good back and forth connection that, you know, that's just kind of how we are all the time, every day. People who hang out with us know that, you know, we love to talk, we love to engage in conversation about anything under the sun, but when it comes to, like, American Indian rights, law, policy, the Navajo economic situation, the political economy, all that good stuff, it's really fun. Like, it's actually, like, we enjoy having those conversations. So anyways, yeah, that was fun. Okay, is it rolling? Has it been rolling? Okay. Okay, so this is the Halloween episode that, there's an ant! I'm allergic to ants! Talk about things we're afraid of. Holy cow! That was a red ant. Okay, so, oh my god, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Oh my god! There's so much going on in this yard right now. Insect world is crazy. Is it like it's walking with it? Like it's carrying it? Oh my god. Okay, so I was reacting to the Halloween episode and I got scared by an ant. So that's what I'm afraid of. Just kidding. I don't want to get bit. Anyways, this episode we talked about Skinwalkers and the Candy Ban and Skid Row, and I was talking about like a little bit about Yebache. Anyways, I'm really sad that Yebache season is kind of like, I'm all freaked out that like more ants are gonna jump on this blanket. Anyways, yeah, I guess thumbs down if you're afraid that Yebache season's canceled. I'm just kidding. I hope not. I'm praying that this pandemic ends and we can continue going to ceremony and learning songs and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I feel like everything we talked about in the Halloween episode is like moot because now we have something that's legitimately dangerous and scary going on. And to think back that we're like talking about these frivolous fears that really are like nothing compared to COVID-19. So I guess that's my reaction. Like we're silly. We're a silly group. Okay, next episode. Okay, politics in Turkey. That's the title for this video, and I was like super gung-ho to talk about this because I love politics. I get excited by it, and I didn't get a chance to collaborate with Kelsey this episode, and so she took it on and she filmed. And what I wanted to contribute to the conversation was this experience I had with my family. It was an election year, and half my family is like they're members of both parties. So we have like Republicans and Democrats in my family, and we're having this conversation. And this is around the time when George W. Bush was in office and the war was going on, and everyone was sitting on both sides of the aisle, and we got into this big freaking argument at Thanksgiving at my grandma's house. And I remember just getting so frustrated because I don't sit with either party, but my family is so important to me, and I was like, yo, we shouldn't be fighting and arguing at grandma's house around the table. You know what I mean? Like, this is a holiday that even if we're not like Christian, even though if we don't believe in propping up these like colonizers holidays, we show up for family, for each other, because it's one of the only times of the year that we all have like days off and we can actually come together. And so that's where I was at. I was there for family. I was there for the food, mostly the food, because my aunts, they cook like amazing dishes, like so bomb. But yeah, so I was like, I wanted to have that conversation with Kelsey, like, where do you draw the line when it comes to politics? Where do you draw the line when it comes to like colonizers' holidays? And there's this joke in my family because I used to protest Thanksgiving every year. It was all about like no thanks, no thanks, no Thanksgiving, none of that. Like I would be out there protesting, and my aunt used to always tease me. She'd be like, "You protest until you get hungry, then you show up at the house." And it's true because there were a few years there when I was just like, I wouldn't go home. I would be hungry all day, and I would miss my family. And finally one year I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make the trip. And they were all surprised that I showed up. They were like, whoa, what are you doing here? We thought you were gonna be, out with your sign and your banner and getting after everybody else. But I was like, no, I missed you guys, and so I showed up, and that's when the joke started that, yeah, Adrian will show up when she gets hungry. So I was like, whatever. But it's true. It's kind of true. The truth hurts, but I don't know. So we got a cool comment from Native Blue Lake after this episode aired, and the person wrote, "Run for council." So that was cool. That was encouraging. So if anybody else thinks that we should run for council, thumbs up this video. But for real though, like I do believe that like it takes a lot of strength and bravery to step up into a leadership position, and I think for women it's even harder because we have to be, you know, perfect. And like myself, I know that I am far from perfect, but I'm doing my best to learn as much as I can. So, you know, I came to Dina College to study language specifically. Even though I have a Bachelor of Science degree, I enrolled in the Dina Studies program at Dina College this year. And so my main focus is Dina language. That's where I'm going, and I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to speak eloquently in the language and of course pass it on. And so that's kind of been my new journey, and for anyone else who's on that journey, like, I feel you. You know, it's tough, but it's been really good. We've had a really fun, I'm saying we because my husband and I both enrolled for classes, and yeah, like we're not ashamed to step into a classroom and be like, we can barely say our own names at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be like 100% honest with yourself when you're taking on a new endeavor. So I don't know, mad props to everyone who's working on language revitalization, who's working on themselves to better themselves, to become more resilient leaders, because, you know, I'm on that path too, and I hope that I'll continue to thrive in that area. Over the past month, Navajo Tea Time put out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos, and they were all relating to social distancing. A bug just like flew into my eye. But they were all like related to COVID-19. They were all related to like, what are we doing to manage the situation? How are we dealing with the stay at home or shelter in place orders? And I had filmed a 57-hour quarantine vlog, and that was really fun. So, you know, the way we're trying to do this now is we're still trying to collaborate, but it's really difficult because we can't actually be together. So we're finding ways to do this, and for me it's really fun because I'm learning how to edit videos, even though they're not like really good. I'm a total amateur, but it's been really good. It's been a good learning experience, and I guess I'm kind of curious what other people are doing as far as like picking up new skills or getting better at things that they want to get better at. So for me, it's YouTube. You know, YouTube, and I don't know, just like learning how to do a lot of long distance communication with Kelsey. That's kind of been challenging, and it goes back to a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about as far as like, you know, the Navajo Nation having good internet service, you know, being able to find time in your own home when you're not living alone. You know, you kind of have to like find creative ways to film in a quiet space. And today, luckily, it's a beautiful day. We're filming outside, and there's bugs everywhere, but it's still fun. That's it. I mean, all I have to say to close this out is I'm really glad that I was given this opportunity to do Navajo Tea Time, because it's been really fun, and it's been really cool getting feedback from people who are following us on social media, people who have commented on our videos. We get between, I think, like 20 and a little over 400 views depending on the topic. So the idea now is like, how can we service you? You know, what questions do you have for us? You know, after you've, you know, over the past year, you've kind of got to know who I am and who Kelsey is. So, you know, we're here to answer your questions. And we're pretty much down for anything right now. You know, this is a really cool time to be alive, only because we have access to all of this technology that we can utilize, you know, with our phones and laptops and stuff. And I'm doing my best to like not go crazy during this pandemic, and I hope that other people are, you know, doing the same. I'm really excited to see like what works of art are going to come out from this, you know, what albums are going to drop, you know, in the next year. I think it's going to be pretty dope. But yeah, that's just my own opinion. I'm going to sign out. I don't really have anything more to say except, you know, be safe, take care of one another, and thank you for supporting Navajo Tea Time. It's our 1-year anniversary, and we are so excited and so thankful for all the support that's come in from our fellow Dene and others. And to thank you, we're doing a giveaway. So this is the Navajo Tea Time campfire mug. We're going to be giving that away along with this really cool canvas Navajo Tea Time bag. So one lucky winner who subscribes to our channel, follows us on Instagram and Facebook, and tags their friends and invites them to, you know, like our page and subscribe to our YouTube, they will win this really cool packet. Something else about these campfire mugs is we're gonna sell these as a merch. So if you're interested in purchasing, send us an email at navajoteatime@gmail.com and we'll send you an invoice. They're $20 and that includes shipping and handling. So these are really cool. They're sturdy, they're not gonna break, you know what I mean? You can take them with you on the road. So yeah, represent Yo-A and support your local and not so local Dene vloggers. Yeah, so that's it.